Our special guest today was an heiress with everything: wealth, privilege, unlimited horizons. Then she was snatched by terrorists, raped, imprisoned, blindfolded, beaten, and brainwashed. She became one of them. Tanya, a debutante toting a machine gun. Before you meet her face-to-face here in our studio, remember the incredible saga of Patty Hearst. In 1974, she was the little-known 19-year-old granddaughter of the very well-known publishing tycoon William Randolph Hearst. An heiress to a fabulous family fortune and a student at the University of California, Patricia Hearst was shockingly snatched from her home in Berkeley on the night of February 4th in a hail of gunfire that touched off the most notorious and perplexing kidnapping case in recent history. 4 days later, the nation learned that Patty Hearst was a so-called prisoner of war, held against her will by an armed group of radicals calling themselves the Symbionese Liberation Army.
Greetings to the people and fellow comrade brothers and sisters. Today I have received an order from the Symbionese War Council, the court of the people, to the effect that I am ordered to convey the following message in behalf of the SLA and to insert a taped word of comfort and verification that Patricia Campbell Hearst is alive and safe.
Mom, Dad, I'm okay. I'm kept blindfolded, usually, so that I can't identify anyone. My hands are often tied, but they're not. I want to get out of here, but the only way I'm going to is if we do it their way. And I just hope that you'll do what they say, Dad, and just do it quickly.
As her mom and dad, Randolph and Catherine Hearst, raced to meet the demands of the SLA, the FBI searched for the terrorists, not knowing whether Patty was alive or dead. Then another tape was released, a recording that would later make us all wonder whether Patty was still a victim or had herself become a terrorist.
On April 15th, my comrades and I expropriated $10,660.02 from the Sunset branch of the Hibernia Bank. I was positioned so that I could hold customers and bank personnel who were on the floor. My gun was loaded.
April 1974. SLA members armed with automatic weapons robbed the Hibernia Bank in San Francisco. A surveillance camera recorded these first pictures of the SLA. And there was Patricia Campbell Hearst, weapon in hand. The crooks made off with $10,680. 2 bystanders were shot. May 16, 1974, in Los Angeles, security guards at Mel's Sporting Goods attempted to stop a shoplifter, only to come under fire by an accomplice sitting in a nearby van. The accomplice was later identified as Patty Hearst. May 17, 1974. The FBI and Los Angeles police converge on a house believed to be the SLA's hideout. After a fierce gunfight erupted between police and the terrorists inside, the structure caught fire, killing all 6 of the building's occupants. The painstaking process of identifying the remains began, and the world wondered if Patty Hearst was among the dead. Then this tape was released.
It's hard to explain what it was like watching our comrades die, murdered by paid incendiary grenades. A battalion of pigs facing a fire team of guerrillas, and the only way they could defeat them was to burn them alive. I died in that fire on 54th Street, but out of the ashes I was reborn. I know what I have to do.
Hearst and the remaining SLA members continued their rampage, planting bombs, robbing 2 more banks in Sacramento, resulting in the death of a 42-year-old woman. September 18, 1975. Police officials finally locate the remaining SLA members, 592 days after the kidnapping of Patty Hearst. William and Emily Harris, Wendy Yoshimura, and Patty Hearst were all found in a suburb of San Francisco and were taken into custody. Americans once so sympathetic to the heiress were astounded to hear of the violent, bloody crimes in which she had taken part. The image of Patty Hearst holding her fist high in an act of defiance during her arrest was especially troubling. She was no longer the poor little rich girl snatched in the night. She was now considered by many a menace to society, a morally weak woman who decided to join her captors' philosophy and their crime spree rather than leave when she had the chance. At her trial, Patty maintained that she never had that chance to run, although SLA ringleader Donald Cinque DeFries offered her freedom. Hearst says that if she left, they would have killed her. She testified that her actions were the result of relentless sexual assault and brainwashing. The jury, though, is not convinced. Patty Hearst was found guilty and sentenced to 7 years in prison. After her trial, Patricia fired her attorney. Simeon.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome Patty Hearst. Nice to meet you. You're so little. Do you think if we did this show in 1980, they would have given you a warm reception like that? Or do you think people might have booed or hissed?
Oh, I think people would have booed and hissed. And I think that there was so much just tension about the trial and about terrorists, and there'd been so much in the paper at that point, and so much of it inaccurate. And people really just accepted anything in terms of propaganda that the terrorists had put out as being absolutely true and took it at face value.
Face value. You were the most familiar face in the country at that time. I mean, to the extent that the Simpson trial these days has dominated public attention, your whole saga, the 2 years you were on the other side, the trial, the whole controversy over your attorney, F. Lee Bailey, and his allegedly incompetent counsel. There was a desperate interest.
Yeah.
People wanted to know everything about you.
Well, I think people had also, come out of the 60s and the whole youth rebellion of the 60s, and through Watergate, which was still going on. Nixon resigned during the time that I was kidnapped. And a lot of people were very angry with their own children. My parents heard that a lot. That people would come up and they'd say, "Oh, I understand completely how you feel. My children did terrible things too." And they would sit there and go, "Was your child kidnapped?" That was the only answer they could come up with for that kind of condolence message.
Was it extremely frustrating to you that people did not understand how you could become a member of a radical terrorist group, how you could be sucked in?
Well, it was very frustrating because it really hadn't happened. It happened to soldiers who had been taken in battle and tortured, and they had put out propaganda for the people who had, the opposing army. And it's not that it hadn't ever happened before, but it had never happened in this country. It had never happened just during a terrorist kidnapping.
To anybody who might not be sympathetic, I want to read the conditions of your capture as recounted by Nancy Ling Perry, who was an SLA member who died in the shootout, to Robin Sue Steiner, who was a defector from the SLA. This is when Patricia was being held by the SLA. These are the conditions under which she was held. We have her tied up and blindfolded in a cupboard. She wears a light gag except when we feed her, but we're starving her as much as possible, just bread and water. We'll keep her locked up, and any of the men and women who want her can take her. Cinque, of course, that's DeFries, took her first as leader, but she's getting foul. She's in total darkness, and we don't let her out to the bathroom, so she's crouching or standing as best she can. We take turns standing outside the cupboard speaking about her and her background, pointing out how evil her type of life is. I can't imagine.
Well, they actually did take me out to the bathroom, but I don't know why. Who knows? I mean, they just lie about everything.
How do you feel when you hear those conditions?
It's just hard to imagine that they would make it sound even worse than it was.
It
was
bad enough.
Yeah. How do I feel about?
Do you recall them? Can you remember?
Yes, I can, but I try not to.
Does it affect the rest of your life?
Yes, of course. I think that anytime you're exposed to that kind of trauma, it affects the rest of your life. And so you have to really spend the rest of your life putting it in perspective, which means putting it in the past and moving on.
Okay, we'll talk more about Patricia's incredible saga. We'll talk about her marriage, now 19 years?
17 years.
17, all right. 2 kids?
2 kids.
2 kids. Life in the suburbs?
Yeah, mostly.
An acting career? And now a novel.
And now a novel.
A pretty good yarn, too, I must say.
Oh, good. Thank you. I think we did a good job.
The incredible saga of Patty Hearst is our focus. Back in a flash, folks.